Welcome to the Contented Couples channel. I'm Annie Power, a couple counsellor in London. And today I'm speaking to my friend and colleague, Gulya Diyarova. Hi, Gulya.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
In a previous conversation with Gulya, we talked about how different attachment strategies in a couple, if the two partners have different attachment styles, this can lead to challenge, it certainly can lead to conflict, but it is also an opportunity. And in this conversation, we're going to look particularly at what EFT, emotionally focused couple therapy, can offer to such a couple, because it tends to be a very user-friendly type of therapy, I think, Gulya.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like, in short, I think, and it's like EFT makes so much sense. The very moment, usually I start kind of introducing the model, the approach, not like the model, the approach from the very start, from the get-go, usually, and just in a briefest way, what seems like you are doing in your relationship, that dance we keep referring to, and it starts making sense almost like straight away. I'm sure you have it in your own experience too. Yeah, even after like 20 years of distress and kind of conflict and all that, and people start looking at each other and like, wow, that is what we're doing to each other.
And that, what is that you explain, you describe to them?
Yeah, that dance, I ask them our very first question, kind of what brought you here, what troubles you, what difficulties you might be having in your relationship. And from the get-go, they start describing their dance. He does this, he never listens, she always criticizes, or vice versa. And this is a dance. Yeah, this is one of the variations of that pursue withdraw dynamic, which might look like, criticize, defend, blame, withdraw, and again, different variations of that.
So I think these variations are really nice to kind of fill out a bit, but broadly you're describing one partner kind of loud and approaching, criticizing, one partner closing down, withdrawing, reserved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always put it like from the very start. I do not really say your arguments, your conflicts. I would say that is where your disconnect happens.
Yes.
That is where you lose each other.
Lose each other. That is a good description.
That is immediately putting it into that attachment frame and gives a different perspective to their fight. Okay, it's not that, she came from a reactive family, look at her mother or or whatever, but just she misses you.
Yes.
You miss him. He is important to you. Wow.
This is so well put, and actually a very good reminder. That might be a bit too strong because it's not totally out of my mind, but because I come from a more psychodynamic, well, I know that's one of the ways you've traveled as well, but I do sometimes, when I'm at a loss, I do tend to go to, well, of course, these are patterns which have happened, started very young, and they get very ingrained, and I can get a bit into that history stuff. And I like the way what you're emphasizing. This is when you lose each other. We really don't need too much reference to the past, do we?
Well, we still talk about the past, as you know, and also my psychodynamic kind of training and all that, it makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, and it takes some of the blame of the relationship. Yeah, it's not that, our parents wanted the best. It's not about blame. Your parents kind of lied. Yeah, they wanted the best for you. They want in the same way as you want the best for your children. Only they could teach you the things they knew themselves. They couldn't teach you the things they did not know or they did not experience.
They could only teach as much as they knew.
Absolutely. And that is where it trickles down the generations, doesn't it? That is where people start seeing that is, again, the curiosity and the compassion. The compassion, that is where it comes from. Yeah. And then all we need, I see you struggle. It's not that like you are out there to get me. Yeah, you are struggling, right? In the same way, in a similar way as I'm doing as well.
So tell me, as a therapist, how do you help each partner see the struggle of the other one?
You know, it's interesting. Like, we have our own protocol, of course, how we do EFT therapy and all that, and individual sessions for attachment histories for each partner. But I tend to start those attachment histories with the partners together in the room. Mm-hmm. Even if they know, usually, of course, you know, partners know the facts of bringing, of kind of childhood, parents, but the way we state those questions to them, yeah, it's about patterns, what you learned, yeah, and they change the perspective. I still remember my great teacher in Sue Johnson, of course, and Gail Palmer when I was training with them, and Gail Palmer said, like, even if the partner gets a different perspective on what they knew already, it already creates a shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A shift where there is a more opening rather than that rigid way of seeing each other. Yeah. And that is where the curiosity again comes online naturally.
Well, that is the essence of it, isn't it? If we can enable people to loosen their vision so that they might come into the work thinking I know exactly what he's like. He's always like this. And that's what we want to enable, to melt some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, opening up, more possibilities, more safety, curiosity again, and hope. Yeah. So this is beautiful to see it emerging. That is what keeps me going, actually. Otherwise, it might have been a very kind of miserable field. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm thinking, in the couples I met for my book who'd all been contented over a long period. Well, I say contented over a long period. They were contented when I met them. Most of them had some stormy early times.
Yeah, sure.
Now, some of them had come through with the help of couple counselling, and a handful had come through with the help of EFT, and it had made a huge difference. But several had not had any help from a couple therapist. And I think some of this reflects the historical period, because one couple I interviewed had been together 50 years. This is in the UK. Some couples were in the US, but a UK couple who were together 50 years ago, and they were having stormy times. There was no way they were going to find their way to a couple therapist. It was such an unusual, rarefied experience then. So they got through by themselves. And I think for those couples who had difficult times and have got through by themselves, one of the distinctive features was the way they used humor. I think for couples who get through by themselves, of course, the humor has to be used kindly. If it's being used in a cruel way, that's no good at all. But I'm thinking of whether humor actually helps with this loosening the rigid view. It slightly shifts a gear, doesn't it, humor?
Yeah, so beautiful you said this. It is a resource, isn't it?
A resource, yes.
Yes. It's not, as you say, it's not like a sarcastic way of kind of poking or kind of like a jab. Yeah, it is something like, come close. I'm not dangerous. We can laugh together.
Because it's a sign that the person is reaching for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a connection. It's establishing that kind of that connection, the closeness, which is also needed. That is what essentially we all know, that is what we are fighting for all our life. Yeah, it boils down to, are you there for me?
Yes. Are you there for me? And I think, going back to the question about what makes EFT appealing to couples, I think it's that really quite soon they begin to experience some of this shift in their way of seeing their partner and of seeing themselves. And then they feel those little, maybe small at first, but little openings of hope for the connection growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is such a genuine, empathic, and you might have heard me saying, and I keep saying in my groups to therapists, and that EFT, it is like the kindest model in the world. Yeah, it is so accepting. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, I see you are struggling. Yeah, I see you are struggling. I see you want, in the circumstances, you are doing your best.
Yes.
Each of you.
Yes.
Sometimes it might look like, two people kind of trying to find each other through the jungle. Yeah, with all the snakes and kind of dangers around, but they're still trying to find their way towards each other. Yeah, I think that is the greatest appeal, definitely for my own relationship. It makes you look into yourself, doesn't it?
I can hear how much that means to you, Gulya. And that I think really sort of summarizes our answer to the question, which is EFT recognizes the jungle. It recognizes there can be a lot of darkness there, but there is this longing for connection.
Yeah, longing for connection. It's like a guiding, like a North Star. Yeah, like a guiding star. That is what actually, keeps people, again, keeping your eyes on the prize. The rewards are great, guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the connection, the closeness, the trust, the safety. Yeah. There is a beautiful book by Glenn Hudson, which says infant losses, adult searches. You might have heard it, you might have read it. And that is what you mentioned. People do make those references to their like childhoods with little episodes like hide and seek or something, and what we did not get for some reasons, for good reasons, when we were growing up, we will be searching for forever. Yeah.
We will be searching for forever. And just a final question around that. So I think sometimes when people come initially to couple work, they might be in despair and they feel, I'm not going to find it with this partner. I thought I was, but he or she has disappointed me there. And that's the kind of, if the work's going to work, that's what we have to help turn around, isn't it? That feeling that my partner's not measuring up. They're not providing that thing I'm longing for.
And it is again about loss, isn't it? In some shape or form. Yeah. Feeling disappointed, it's painful, isn't it? It hurts. Tell me more about that hurt, which is there, is kind of what is there. We'll see, we'll unpack it, where it came from, what is there and how we can repair. I think that is another greatest piece about EFT. Yeah, it's hope, it's understanding your attachment strategies, how you do your dance, but it is also, and most important, I think, how you repair.
Yes.
How you do the healing, repair.
And the bit that you pointed to there, which is so central, which I think most of us in the world have some grasp of. If we think of expressions like kicking the cat, there's the recognition that when we feel bad, whether that's sad or angry, whatever, we take it out on other people. And if the partners come with some recognition of that they may be disappointed in the other one, but actually they themselves are enacting some unhelpful behaviors when they feel disappointed, then we really do have the foundation to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful you put it in that kind of frame, what people see in their relationship, what they may experience in their relationship. But again, in EFT being the kindest model in the world, how we reframe it in the way like, oh, sometimes that is what you might have learned when you were little, that only by hurting each other can I show how I'm hurting.
Yes.
Yeah. This seems like the only way to let you know. how much hurt I'm carrying there. Yeah. So again, that is a compassion, isn't it? It's about compassion. It's not about like getting out there to hurt you deliberately or to want you to suffer. Yeah. It's like, you know, I can't suffer on my own. Yeah. I need you to help me to, you know, to hold that fear, to hold that pain together.
Well, Gulya, you're really conveying how when you, Gulya, offer that compassion to your couples, there's a kind of softening. I'm feeling it at this end of the video call. So that's really a lovely illustration to end with. And so we'll say goodbye now, and then we're going to do a third video, which will look in at really the therapist end of EFT. But I'll say thank you and goodbye, Gulya.
Bye for now.